My fiancé of 10 years suddenly left me without explanation while we were planning a wedding and trying for a baby. 2 years later, I found out why, and it was unhinged. So around 2 years ago, my ex-fiancé, whom I'd been in a relationship with for almost 10 years, unceremoniously just left me. It never fully made sense to me as there were no warning signs. We were actively planning our wedding, and finally agreed to try for a baby, as we were both in our 30s and time was ticking. Then one day, he just started acting sort of off, wasn't saying I love you before he left for work for the day, was spending more time out drinking with his friends than he was at home. I sat down with him one day and just asked him if everything was okay with him. He tried to brush it off initially and kept saying he was fine. So I changed the question and asked if we were okay. He looked like he really didn't want to answer. So I asked again. He paused, and in that moment, I knew. It was over. I asked if he still loved me. He said he loved me but wasn't in love with me anymore. And that was it. Within a week, he had moved out, leaving 90% of his belongings to be collected at a later date and to serve as a constant reminder that he was just gone. To say it hit me hard was an understatement. I spiraled massively. I was at the lowest point I had ever been in my life, so I tried to end it all. It just hurt too much feeling like there was something so wrong with me that he had to just leave. Fortunately, a friend managed to get me to a hospital before I did any serious damage to myself, and while I still felt awful about myself most of the time, it got a little easier. I ended up dating that friend a few months later. A lot of people said it was too soon to move on, but honestly, I never set out to have another relationship at all. But his constant support, presence, and reassurance that there was nothing wrong made me want to spend time with those who truly gave a shit about me, and in time, we developed feelings for each other. We had a beautiful relationship filled with love and laughter, and much to our surprise, I ended up pregnant 9 months into our relationship. We decided to keep the baby even though our relationship was still in its early stages, and 9 months later, our beautiful daughter was born. Now on to present day. I guess my ex has been reflecting on the past recently, due to a lot of deaths in his family, and his mother reached out to me to ask whether I'd be willing to meet up with him, as he had something to get off his chest, but she would understand if I said no. I decided to think about it for a few days before I agreed that I would meet up with him at a local coffee shop. I was already sat down when he came in, and he gave me the saddest looking smile while I merely just nodded to him and motioned for him to sit down and get out whatever he needed to tell me. I was a little bit speechless at what he had to say. He said that when we started trying for a baby and nothing was happening even though we were closely tracking my ovulation cycle and testing every day for that sweet spot, he realized something wasn't right. So he secretly took a day off work to see a fertility Dr. L. They found that due to an undiagnosed issue in one of his testicles, the likelihood of him ever being able to conceive a biological child of his own was incredibly low. He knew that I loved him so deeply that I would have given up my dream of having children, just for him, and he said he couldn't live with that on his conscience, that I deserved to have the life and family I'd always wanted, only with someone else. He kept apologizing profusely for hurting me so much in the process, but tried to rationalize that I had got what I'd wanted in the end, so his plan worked. I sat there silent for a few minutes and just looked at him dead in the eyes and said that that was never his decision to make. He took away my choice and nearly destroyed me in the process, and I got up and left. Honestly, I'm shook. Like, did my ex honestly think I'd be like, okay, thanks for letting me know, and then we'd all be friends again? Update. My former mother-in-law reached out to me as I hadn't spoken to her in a few days, so when she reached out to see if I was okay yesterday, I decided I'd pop over and catch up with her. Turns out he came clean to her when she asked exactly what had gone on, as she hadn't heard from me in a few days, and she was worried. She went absolutely ballistic at him, and currently is not speaking to him at all. And she told me something I did not know, and something she assumed I'd known all along. It turns out that when he was born, he had undescended testicles. He had the surgery to correct it, but there was always going to be the chance that he would have fertility issues in adulthood. He was meant to go for checkups once he passed puberty age to see whether there was any lasting damage, and he claimed to his mother that he had gone to these and everything was fine, but neither of us actually believed this. So the entire time we discussed having children, he knew there was a possibility that all he was shooting was blanks, but neglected to actually let me know this, for 10 freaking years. My partner and I's relationship, we are absolutely fine. He's used to my sulky episodes. I did eventually fill him in after a few days of being mildly annoyed, and he agreed that it was super fucked up, and agreed with a lot of the comments that his timing for telling me all this was comical. We did suspect for a while that the real reason he decided to leave was cheating initially, because he'd gotten strangely close to one of the girls in our friend group. Turns out nothing is going on there. But another little tidbit off my ex's mom that she found out also. Guys, he's dating this girl's 60-year-old mother. Good lord, his life is a dumpster fire.